What is going on, guys? Today we're back with another video looking at a specific pair of gloves and showing all the best combos possible for them at the time of planning, which is the 15th of October. And as you can see, we're looking at the Unhinged gloves. Now, I am going to get them in field testing because they come in at basically $100 on the nose, and they actually hold up pretty well. They're one of the few gloves in the game that with wear still look pretty damn good. And as you can see, I'm going to pair it with the Survival Vanilla Knife. I think this pairing works so well. It's always been one that I go to when it comes to my budget combinations. $100 gloves, $135 knife, paired in with a $22.50 agent in FBI Sniper. He used to be sub $10, just to be a bit better on the budget side of things, but overall, this is looking slick. Now, we do have some extra knives to go over, but we'll do those in a moment. Today's video is sponsored by Ulanzi. I've just recently moved, and although my stream room has a long way to go, the Ulanzi D200H deck dock was the first thing I got set up in the new space. That's because it instantly upgrades my stream and your viewing experience. No more tabbing out of CS2 mid-game to change scenes or fix something in the background. Everything stays smooth and seamless for you guys watching. It's essentially a programmable macro keyboard that lets me map complex tasks to one click, whether that's switching cameras, controlling music, or hitting an instant mute when I need it. And because it's plug and play, I had it running in minutes. The built-in 7-in-1 hub has also been huge. It keeps my desk cleaner and makes it way easier to connect external drives or extra peripherals without digging around the back of my PC. What I love is that it gives you pro-level features about half the cost of competitors, but with the exact functions creators actually rely on. So if you're streaming, editing, or just want to simplify your setup, the Ulanzi D200H deck dock is a small upgrade that makes a huge difference. Check the link below to learn more. Okay, so the other knives, you can go for vanillas across the board. Like, vanillas in these gloves work so well. If you wanted to upgrade, and this is spending like about 2.5 times as much, Nomad Vanilla for $370. You get some better animations and more preferable knife for many people, and it just looks great. Like, all in all, this looks fantastic. And then if vanillas aren't your thing, but you want to still get that like silver pairing, Damascus Steel is what we want to go for. And I want like S tier here. So Karambit Damascus Steel field test is over $1,000, but still, you're talking here, this is like $1,150 total to get the gloves and the knife. And that's getting a Karambit in there, which is kind of sick if you ask me. Now, a huge thing with these gloves is that a lot of people use them as entry gloves to the loadouts because they can work with every skin in the game. For example, that's my pink op, here's my Syrian Rage, here's my blue MP7. Like, they're not perfect with all of them, but they work as neutral gloves. What I'm going to do today is actually lock in on their styling, and that's going for the silver sort of grey skins that work really well with them, like the stainless you're seeing here for $10.50, and I'll have some suggestions on more flashy skins where it's fitting. So this is my shout for the USP. Over in the P250, I think you want to go pick up a Cartel. Now, I've priced minimal wear, which is $11. You could save a little bit by going down to field test, but it is just a pricey skin. On the Desert Eagle side of things, it's one of the few times I think I can actually suggest the Naga. It holds up pretty well here. It is $5.50 in minimum wear. Another one of these skins that, because faction news being pumped, minimum wear is slowly creeping in price. And as I said, a little bit of color flex in here, mainly on Inspect, but the Kimitsu Dragon is $34 on Desert Eagle if you want a bit of an upgrade, a bit more design, just even more silver as well. And another example of color pop here would be going for something like the polished Malachite on the Joe Berettas. These in minimum wear just over $50. They're green, which is that color pop, but they do have silver as a secondary accent, and you can see like the silver studs and the silver accents on the gloves when you're using the Joe Berettas. And as part of this, obviously a no-brainer then is the silver quartz on the 5.7 side of things. It is going to run you almost $3 now, so it's slowly creeping up, but if you go minimal wear, the scuffs are going to look horrible. Now, on the MP9, I was torn between the Nexus and the Featherweight. Now, you can see I ended up going for the Featherweight. This is a super budget-friendly skin. What I like about this is the scales of the Unhinged gloves actually work quite well with that grayish-white texture along with the black of the skin. Like, for a 10-cent skin, it pairs really well with the gloves. And then because we're going for the silver vibe, there is just some really obvious picks like the MP7 Armor Core. As I did showcase though, the benefit of these gloves is you could go for something more flashy like the Just Smile if you wanted to, and it's not going to look as good on a theme basis, but it'll still look good for vibes. And that's why I picked the Motorized for the UMP. Now, I think minimal wear is a sweet spot here because it keeps a lot of the silver. You can go, if you want a bit of color change, into high float on this, save a bit of money, and it'll get a bit of a tinge on it. And for the XM, I landed on the black tie. It's $1.40 minimal wear. It's a pretty classy looking skin. I would prefer something that's a bit more like silver leaning that actually looks good. I think there's a bit of a lack of that on the XM side. And then we get the Swag 7 out here for under $1 min wear. It is just like, this is such an obvious one to go for when it came to these gloves. Now, it's time to get into the meat and the potatoes of the loadout. So for the M4s, the AWP, and the AK, I have 3 suggestions for each today. My main suggestion for the Emperor ONS is going to be the Basilisk. I don't think I need to explain this. It just looks absolutely fantastic with the gloves. You got the scales as well on the gloves. It just all plays in so well. If you're someone that just wants to spend money on a more expensive M4 for the sake of it, or you just want something a bit more vibey, Prince Stream's going to be my next shout. Just shy of the $400 mark in minimal wear. Of course, you can save money by going for a lower condition, but that black and white vibes into the black and silverness of the gloves does work pretty well. And then on the insane baller side, I thought the Imminent Danger could actually work pretty well because it's like this sort of metal silvery grey background colour with then these pops of colours throughout it, which just offers you something a bit different. Now, I would price for the Basilisk on the Emperor ONS. I'm pricing for the Magnesium on the M4A4, and it is much cheaper. It is 80 cents, and this has always been just that sleeper pairing to go for. For M4A4s in general, not even just for these gloves, this has great craft potential, has lighting effects, looks great in CS2, and it's such a low price. Now, the mid-tier upgrade here I was toying with was the Sheet Lighting, and this one, or Sheet Lightning I should say, doesn't pair quite as well as the alternatives for the Emperor ONS, but it does have these sort of silvery bronze lightning bolts coming down, and I think it'd work with the gloves. And on that crazy spend element, you can go and get yourself a Daybreak in factory new. It's going to have wear, it's been market manipulated, it is risen, by the way guys, $900 in a month. Talk about market manipulation. This is why you should go buy the Magnesium. Okay, and then the AWPs, honestly, I struggled a little bit. If you do AWP, right, you want a bit more flare on your skin, you're going to go Chrome Cannon. That's what I'm pricing for, so don't worry. My second suggestion, you can save you some money if you want. Chrome Cannon's there, gets a bit of silvery lighting effect onto it. It works. I think you should go, however, for something like the Black Nile. $3.60 min wear for this looks fantastic. You still keep the detailing on the scope. The coloration isn't starting to go bronze on the body yet, so it holds up really nicely. And then if you're an opera that just wants to go for pure baller vibes and you somehow just want to run the unhinged gloves, you want to look at a graphite, $270 plus for this. It's pretty pricey for what it is these days. I like the skin, but for the price it costs, it's really hard for me to suggest it regularly. And we have 2 more CT skins to go over. The first one is the Famous, where we're going to go for the Gin. Field test it, $2.80. Obviously, black base skin with lots of silver accents on it. Again, it becomes a no-brainer for what we're doing here. And then, to end off CT side, the Scout, I'm going for the Xeno. This is a $1.85 minimal wear. I think this is genuinely a fantastic budget-friendly skin, especially if you use the Scout a lot. Like, there's so many elements to this that for sub $2, it is worth all the money. Now, let's say you want an agent on T-side. You can go and get Sir Bloody Silent Darrow to get the silver accent for $67. Now, I do want to note, you can go get these gloves in minimal wear, but I checked them and they were $260. Now, in the grand scheme of what we're spending here, if you have that budget, by all means, we'll get the minimal wear, right? But I was going like best value offering because they got good and field tested. You may as well get field tested, but then it feels a bit weird spending almost the same amount of money on your 2 agents. But there we go. That is the agent I think you should use here. And for the Glock, I'm actually going to suggest the Ironwork. Not one I get to use much here, but for the 60 cents you can pay for it in minimal wear, it actually works quite nicely with these gloves. And yeah, just overall, I think texture-wise, color-wise, this is a banging pairing. And then I did get that color pop in with the fuel injector on the Tech 9. For context, I also considered the cutout, but when I was looking at both in games, like the Tech 9 just hits different, man. And then we'll give another no-brainer skin in the Mac 10 Silver. 50 cents for this in factory new, when we've got silver accents on the agent, silver on the weapon skin itself. Just such an obvious choice. Now, the Mac 10 was an obvious choice that looks good. The P90 is an obvious choice that is something. It's the Straight Times, it's 40 cent minimal wear. This is the best color pairing. I don't love the skin. At this point, I'd maybe go spend like max $1 on a P90 that you just like artwork-wise and enjoy it. That's my alternative for you. And then you get a sort of fun pick when it comes to the Gale, because you're going to go get a metallic squeezer, and you're going to want one that is mostly silver. Now, I found this one on Float today for $2.25. Minimal wear is pattern 278. Now, there is a little bit of gold in the handle, but you can see here, we are mostly silver, especially in what you see when you're using it in a game. So for me, this is a pretty budget-friendly win. And then, as mentioned, I do have 3 AKs to go over. So the first one is going to be the Cartel, and that's what I'm pricing for when I give you guys the loadout cost in a minute. This is $24, and again, I think just the King Snake's texturing and the sort of style that we have on the Unhinged gloves into that 3D texturing of the Cartel, all the floral elements on it, the sugar skull, like just thematically, it works pretty well together. Now, if you don't like the color of the wood on the Cartel, if that's what's making it picky or it's too expensive, still that could work for you. $2.10 here for minimal wear. This is actually quite a good skin for the price you're paying for it, but just it is a low cost, not really high interest item from like a souvenir collection, so it gets slept on quite a lot. And then if you were just spending stupid money while rocking your nice $100 gloves, the fuel injector could be a play for you for a whopping $360 in minimal wear. But much like the Tech 9, it just passes the vibe check. I do wish the magazine 3D work was better, but it is an older skin. And the SG is our final weapon skin here. Now, what I like about this is you kind of got like the studs that go around the Broken Fang logo on the Unhinged gloves, and then you get those studs on the heavy metal, and it's only $22. So it keeps it nice and cheap for us. Now, just to be clear, the price I'm about to give includes the M4 Basilisk, the M4 for Magnesium, the Op Chrome Cannon, and the AK Cartel. If you wanted to make any changes there, obviously you will be looking at probably spending more. Now, the total cost of this loadout with the Survival Vanilla is $445. And I think that is pretty solid. You're getting good agents, a pair of gloves that work well, like consistently for basically every skin in the game. I think vanilla knives are very slick, especially on the likes of the Survival. So for $450, this is a pretty banging loadout. And then as mentioned, most of your upgrades come in the form of knife upgrades. So like the Nomad, for example, if we jump to this, $680. But given the animations you get here and just like the vibe the Nomad gives, I'd say this coming under $700 again is pretty solid. And then a full loadout that includes a karambit, just so you can, like, I don't know, you can finish your fucking spray pattern, you pull out the karambit, like you've won the round. It hits different, $1,355. So honestly, in 2025, you're getting a full themed loadout with some good weapon skins in there and a karambit for $1,355. Isn't necessarily easy to do anymore because the prices are getting nuts. So there you go. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I know the Unhinged gloves are a very common go-to starter glove for a lot of people, and as I mentioned at the start, you don't have to go for the black and silver approach that I went for here, but ultimately on a color theme level, they are the best pairings. So that's what we're doing here, the best pairings for it. You can go and get a bit of color in there if you wish, and it'll still look good. For example, here's an AK Control, here's a Max Red Serpent Strike, looks pretty good, like not perfect, but looks good. There you go, guys. I'm about to lose my voice again because I'm still ill, so I'm going to say a big thank you to the YouTube members for supporting the channel real quickly before my voice does go, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios, goodbye, all that goodness. See you then.